This is a recording for Chapter 15 of Yakusoku no Neverland. Spoilers ahead, I will be discussing Yakusoku no Neverland Chapter 15 plot points as well as maybe some future plot points or previous plot points on preceding chapters. Chapter 15 cover chapter art is phenomenal because of that scene where Norman had a nightmare where he saw all of his comrades or friends or families dead, where the Vida flower plant is struck on Emma, where blood is spilling all over. It's just too gory of a scene, but as you can see, the chapter title is Don't You Dare in the fan translation of the manga, and it's Never Again in the English translation. I really love how Norman just stood there mummified or shocked about this horrific scene where everyone was dead. Not just dead, but where the plant is sucking out their bloods. Ray had that creepy look where it's as if he's a zombie and he raises up and he's blaming Norman. Why was Norman not able to save them? So this chapter cover art alone illustrates Norman's fears about how he's incapable of saving the family or Emma, the girl he loves so much. He's not able to save Ray, and you can see his fears in materializing in here, that Emma and Ray dead and gone. It's one of his greatest fears, and it's materializing in this nightmare where there's a demon behind his back who has Mama Isabella's face in it. So it really recalls and really shows how Mama Isabella is the true demon among demons, because she's the manipulator in this story arc. She's the antagonist. And Norman was, of course, very shocked to find out in the anime version Norman only hugged a dying Emma, but I love it in the manga that he hugged both Ray and Emma, which shows his compassion towards both of them and not just Emma. Of course, it was just a nightmare. Chris and Sherry tried to wake him up from his nightmare, and I'm so glad that it's just a nightmare. But it shows Norman's fears, one of his greatest fears, and this is gonna become his motivation to formulate an escape plan where he tried to pass on to Emma so that Emma can make sure that that plan is put into action when they do escape from Gracefield. And then another scene that I want to talk about. So Norman, during the test, is trying to debate whether he can trust Ray. He doesn't want to give up the trump card, but he also wants to make sure that he can save Emma. So he's trying to find the balance or the compromise to make sure that his plan will work, where everyone can be saved, quote unquote, and where he can use Ray as his trump card because of his knowledge or information about the house. And then there's a scene here where Mama Isabella just strikes Dawn and Gilda's cheeks, and then in the English translation they got chills on that after having known that Mama Isabella is trying to sold them off to human trafficking, and they only know half the truth at this point. And so when I first saw the panel on the manga and read this, I was also chilling to the bones, because they are seeing Mama Isabella differently now. Despite her nice and kind demeanor, Gilda and Dawn's shocked eyes were like telling, even as one of the older kids, it's telling them that can they really trust Mom? Is this the real Mom? I'm glad that Dawn and Gilda's story arcs are included in chapter 15 of the manga as early as this, because it shows that it's not only Emma, Ray, and Norman who has the brains. Other kids like Dawn and Gilda can step up to the game too. So I really love that. And of course, Phil is just as adorable because he got high scores. So, and then Dawn and Gilda, their faces are not shown, which showcases their fear and their shock when Mama stroked them. Even though it's kind of like off screen, there's only a little panel, but Dawn's face is not shown and Gilda's eyes were not shown, which tells the readers that they're also afraid or becoming afraid of Mama Isabella, even when she praised them because of their high scores. There's a funny scene here where Ray admits to Emma that he's the traitor nonchalantly, casually. I really love Ray's glaring looks and eyes when he stared at Emma when he confessed that he is the traitor. I really love how the confrontation between Emma and Ray, because I didn't realize when I was first reading the manga that Ray had to sacrifice one of the siblings to use the device, the device that will destroy the transmitters, so that he can use the other children as like guinea pigs, so that his device to break the tracking devices can be tested. I didn't realize that he used them on other kids, and who knows whether those kids or that kid, their shipping dates were bumped up. So intentionally, what Kayoshirai is telling is that Ray had to sacrifice some of the kids in order for his plans to come to fruition. And Ray, in the first arc of this series, has this soulless eyes. He doesn't know any sympathy. He has like dark slit eyes or pupils and very deceiving and skeptical smile. You don't know if you can trust him or not, but you know that he's an ally. He, even though he stated he's neither an ally or an enemy, he has that deceptive smile, and that's what I like about Kaishua. He deceives his readers into thinking that that guy is the traitor or that girl is the traitor. It's just so phenomenal how he can put his brain on a manga or a beautiful series or craft such as this. And then Ray confronted Emma with that glare on his look. It's as if he's been found out. Emma is too smart. She's really noticed how Ray must have used other children, or sacrificed other children so he can experiment or use his device that can break the transmitters. There's this scene where Emma holds Ray's right hand. It's as if she's saying, never do that again. She did say in the fan translation, don't you ever do something like that again. You're not alone anymore. She was holding it in. She's trying to withhold her anger against Ray. Who wouldn't hold their anger after you know that one of your friends is sacrificing your family or your sister or your brother into Demon's meal? So it really shows Emma's optimism and restraint, or she's been trying to forgive Ray at this point, even though she knows that he doesn't really mean his promise, or even though Ray said, I swear I'll never do it again. Emma at this point knows that he really doesn't mean it, that Ray is only saying that to calm her down. Ray was pretty frightened of Emma. I really love Pascal de Misa's drawings on Emma about that fierce shock in one's eyes, staring at your soul, not just your eyes. Her anger and rage just like pouring out of the pages because of the black screen or the black background that they are drawn in. So very phenomenal drawing. Even Ray was saying, damn, she was pissed, and then Norman followed Ray up. Yeah, but she was restraining herself because she knows how tough it must have been for you all these years fighting by yourself. Norman was trying to let Ray admit, are you really sure that you're doing it for our sake, that you've been preparing these 6 years for our sake? What about you? What's your plan, or something like that? Is it just not both of us to get killed? What's your hidden plan? Ray just kept quiet, and Norman was trying to read whatever Ray can send. Norman's like trying to weed Ray out into admitting his true intentions. Emma is just as forgiving as ever, grabbing hold of Norman and Ray's hands. It's as if nothing has happened. It's as if that flashback or that scene where she was holding Ray's hand in anger didn't happen at all. She easily forgives him. And then the chapter ends with manga panels where Gilda and Emma were telling Norman, Ray, and Dawn how there could be a secret room where Mama Isabella is trying to hide. So that's chapter 15 for you. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you loved this podcast of The Promised Neverland. Thank you. Bye.